everyone, my name is Yuri, and I will be giving a brief overview of President Lyndon B. Johnson's administration, focusing on key domestic and foreign policy issues, electoral dynamics, and institutional challenges he faced during his time in office. Lyndon B. Johnson was from Texas, and he served as president from 1963 to 1969. He assumed office after John F. Kennedy was assassinated, and he won the 1964 election in a landslide against the Republican Barry Goldwater, securing 486 electoral votes. His campaign emphasized stability and progressive reform, which resonated with a nation still grieving JFK. Johnson faced little opposition in his Democratic primaries. His incumbency and national sympathy gave him a clear path. Swing states in 1964 included Illinois, Ohio, and Michigan. Interestingly enough, Johnson even won traditionally conservative states, just like, for example, Arizona, showing how different the partisan map was compared to today. One of Johnson's most significant domestic achievements was the Civil Rights Act of 1964. It outlawed segregation and discrimination, marking a turning point in American civil rights history. The legislation received bipartisan support, especially from Northern Republicans, despite resistance from some Southern Democrats. Johnson's war on poverty was ambitious, but it faced long-term obstacles. While programs like Medicare and Head Start were instated, broader reduction in poverty was stalled due to the Vietnam War spending and the conservative opposition. The initiative showed promise but lacked sustained momentum. The Vietnam War was a defining moment in Johnson's foreign policy. After the Gulf of Tonkin incident, he escalated the U.S. involvement in the believing in the containment of communism. However, the war became increasingly unpopular, especially after the Tet Offense of 1968, which eroded public trust and the media's support. A quieter success for Johnson was the 1968 Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. Johnson's administration helped to negotiate this global treaty to prevent the spread of any nuclear weapons and to promote peaceful nuclear energy use. It was a diplomatic win amid the growing Cold War tensions. Johnson initially had strong congressional support, especially in the years 1964 and 1965, which helped pass major legislation. Over time, opposition grew due to the Vietnam and domestic unrest. The courts generally upheld his policies. Most notably, the Supreme Court reinforced the Civil Rights Act in the Heart of Atlanta Motel versus the United States case. In the 1966 midterms, the Democrats lost seats, reflecting backlash against the war and the urban unrest, consistent with law of midterms, which says that the president will typically lose some ground in the midterm elections. Johnson's media relationship was soured over time, and early coverage was positive, but the televised war footage and protest movements turned public opinion against him. Johnson chose not to seek re-election in 1968, saying that national division and personal exhaustion were his reasons. His vice president, Hubert Humphrey, ran but lost pretty narrowly against Richard Nixon, largely due to the Vietnam conflict and the domestic turmoil that we were having at that time. So, in summary, Lyndon B. Johnson's presidency was marked by sweeping domestic reform and deep foreign policy challenges. His legacy is very complex. He expanded civil rights and social programs, but the Vietnam War cast a very long shadow over his presidency and his whole administration. Thanks so much for listening.